Hello, Cryptonauts. Welcome back to another episode of Cryptocurrency Chat. Today we have Dimitri Hellemond. Hello, Dimitri. Welcome.
Hello, Blockchain John. Thank you for having me here.
Yes, thank you for being here. Okay, so you are a special guest today, and I apologize in advance for the stuffy nose that I have going on, but I'm gonna do my best to make this episode the best possible. Okay. All right.
Okay,
So,
no worries.
so the first question I'm going to ask you is the icebreaker question, and it is: what is your favorite sport and why?
My favorite sport. Myself, I've got as a hobby boxing, and well, I'm kind of into strongman. Like the guys like Eddie Hall
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, Hafthor, what he does.
Yeah.
And you've got a big American guy, Sean Strength.
Yep.
Well, them guys.
Yep. Yeah, I watch it as well.
Naturally,
Who's your favorite guy in strongman?
well, I don't really have one specific favorite guy, but if I had to choose between the two, Sean Strength or Eddie Hall. Both got a certain vibe that I like.
Yeah,
Sean Strength is like, yeah,
they're really good.
chillax a
Mm-hmm.
little bit, and Eddie Hall is a little bit of a prankster that I
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. They have really good personalities. That's one of the things I like to watch as well. It's great. All right, Cryptonauts. Obviously, we got this going on, this podcast going on. We do have Dimitri Hellemond with us from Gracious Interest. I appreciate you being here. All right, let's go ahead and get started with Dimitri. So, Dimitri, you are, let me just correct me if I'm wrong, okay? You are an educator on blockchain and cryptocurrencies, correct?
That's correct.
All right.
I try to teach people about cryptocurrency and blockchain, the different kind of consensus protocols which exist, how to do fundamental analysis, how to do decent research, etc., etc.
Okay, that's interesting. So, let me ask you before you got to this point now with Gracious Interest, what did you do before you got into crypto? Before you even heard of Bitcoin or Ethereum or Dogecoin? Before everything crypto, what did you do before that? And what was that moment in time that went poof, the crypto space was in your scope?
Well, on before I was always into gaming, and more specifically in the Doom mod community, and I'm really talking about classic Doom, and well, starting to mod games like Project Brutality, Brutal Doom, etc. So yeah, the bloody gore stuff, etc. And
Mm-hmm.
well, with gaming, I got some experience and knowledge where it concerns well, computers, programming, well, naturally modding of games, a variety of programming languages, etc. And I actually rolled into crypto during my, well, studies, academic studies on university. Um, Back in the day, there was a guy who was interested in cryptocurrency, and I'm really talking here in the period between 2009, 2014. To be more specific, well, let's say 2010, 2014. That's the period I was at university, and where Bitcoin and the idea of crypto was really incepted. Now, back then, I didn't really pay attention to it. By reason, I was still studying for becoming an engineer. And well, there was this one guy I was very befriended with guys who studied ICT, so information communication technology, programmers, well, your typical nerds, if I may say so. There was this one guy who was involved with the very early Bitcoin forums. He was an active user there, etc. And we talked frequently about encryption because why not? I've always been a little bit of an anarchist when it came down to it. So I was kind of interested in, well, censorship proof stuff and into cryptography. We talked about cryptocurrency, and sometimes he gave me updates, etc., but I didn't really pay attention. And well, 2014, I graduated, moved away from home quite quickly, even. Went living with my best friend in, well, a shared apartment. I stayed for several years, but naturally, with that came financial trouble. By reason, well, I didn't really have a reserve, so I had to well, I had to go to work to earn money, to pay my bills, etc., etc. And actually, as any young guy
Mm-hmm.
who sees he's low financial means, you start to look to make investments, start or try to plan or try out things to make money. And back then it was about 2016, 2017. I was at a point where I was like, okay, I want to make investments into something which got a decent return. Back in those days, I was also going to what's the word again? Sorry, guys. I'm not natively English. I'm Dutch, so pardon me. Sometimes I need to search my words here.
It's okay.
I went to a congress of Kiyosaki, Robert Kiyosaki from
Oh yes.
Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And well, he gave me the basics towards financial knowledge, how to start your own company, etc., etc., etc. And he brought me on the idea to try a variety of investments like peer-to-peer loans, investing in gold, and investing in assets. Back then, he didn't really speak of Bitcoin, etc. It's something that I eventually rolled in. By reason, I found notes from, well, my old friend from back at university, where I took some notes about cryptography, and therein lay explained or written down the basics towards Bitcoin. And I started researching, and I didn't immediately jump into it by reason. Before I do something, I always want to do a little observation, analysis how things move. And well, it was 2016, 2017, very first Bitcoin halving. I was researching those things, and at the meantime, taking the advice from Rich Dad Poor Dad, where it concerns stocks and options, that if something goes up, you're too late to buy in. So I waited to buy in my Bitcoin up until late 2018. No, sorry. After 2018, it was in 2019 that I bought my very first Bitcoin. But by then, I had read the entire white paper and I was actively exploring a variety of cryptocurrency like Ethereum. I wanted to say Peercoin. Was it? Well, the very first proof of stake based cryptocurrency,
Yeah,
and I do believe it was Peercoin.
yeah, Peercoin.
Peercoin.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm correct there. So yeah, I read about it and did my first investment after the tremendous crash corrections in 2019 on Bitcoin. That's when I stepped in and I started doing more and more research, really getting more and more into it. Now, as many of you know, I'm active on Twitter and a variety of social media platforms. And when I tried talking to people about cryptocurrency, I saw and noticed a lot of people who were in it for investment purposes, but more like the hype crowd, in the sense of they didn't do technical or fundamental analysis. Well, I'm going to say they didn't do their fundamental
A lot of
analysis.
crypto bros, right? Crypto bros.
Indeed, all those lembros, I'm going to say, the people who are like who are saying, yeah, this one's going to times 10, times 100, times 1,000, and I'm like, what's the reason?
Yeah, exactly.
By reason, I know the fundamentals, and I know if a project or a coin has decent fundamentals, I know it has a decent chance to go up. So all that hype crowd, I was a little bit confused, and well, I started explaining to people like, yeah, no, it's not going to happen because set and set
Well,
reason, and
well,
there
hold
were
on,
plenty.
hold on, Dimitri.
Yeah.
Let me ask you. So, how did you even jump into the whole like TA field? Because you kind of dismissed that. You just like all of a sudden now you're an expert in TA. How did you study that? Because from
Tro-
what you explain is that you went to university in 2010 to be an engineer, right? And then
yeah,
you found a friend, a friend that was experimenting or into the idea of crypto. So around 2012, I
around
would say.
two. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Around 2012 is when you really got into like it was. Bitcoin was in your field of view, like you knew that it existed, but you just didn't research it. Not until about 2016 is when you started to invest into or looking at investing into stuff. That's when you found your notes from your friend, right? That he wrote
Mhm.
the basic fundamentals of Bitcoin, right?
That's correct.
And then all of a sudden, a couple years later, from you doing research, I mean, I'm not sure who you studied under, but now you're an expert at TA. So how did this happen? Where did this transition like just like that? You know?
Well, I'm not going to say I am an expert,
Mm-hmm.
but I do want to say that I, well, self-taught myself
Okay.
pretty much everything that there is to know. And it has been, well, I've done that by starting to read white papers and doing my research. And with that, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I printed literally out the white paper of Bitcoin,
Yes.
laid it next to me, and certain concepts which are, well, highly precise within the programming world, I started looking up, writing down the definitions, and yeah, I believe those papers are gone now. But it was an extensive white paper wherein all more complicated terms were being explained, and I learned myself on how things worked. And I not only did it with Bitcoin before I invested in it, I did it with other projects as well, with Ethereum, Peercoin,
Mm-hmm.
um, well, pretty much all the other coins I've done live streams about
And
currently.
and you're successful at it,
It's
right?
I'm pretty successful with it
Okay.
now. I'm going to say it between brackets by reason not too many people are all too happy with fundamental analysis. By reason, a lot of people want the hype, they want to, well, sell at a higher price, but
Of course,
they they fail to understand the entire basics behind a coin, why things move the way they do.
because they don't read the
And
white paper.
didn't read a white paper,
Yeah.
but failed to understand the organic movements behind it. And with
Mm-hmm.
that, I'm really meaning about when, for example, the bull run happens, we know that it occurs together with the Bitcoin halving.
Yeah.
We know a project will become successful if it has a decent use case, if it has decent development going on, etc., etc. And that's one
So
of the
so
reasons that
let
I
me let me ask you this, just randomly: how did Dogecoin make it in the top 10 without a use case? I'm
quite easy. It got overhyped, and
yeah.
there was more or less a use case for it, in the sense that it was being used as a tipping coin back on Reddit, back
Mm-hmm.
before it reached its limelight. And there was an enormous reserve of Dogecoin. And, well, the hype did its work, I'm going to say, and plenty of people got attracted with thanks to Elon Musk to Dogecoin.
Yes.
But at the same time, there were a lot of people who had Dogecoin through Reddit.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, how is value established with cryptocurrency? It is simple, the supply and demand. Now, I know with Dogecoin, the supply is in reality unlimited. However, demand started increasing due to the call out by Elon Musk and by the reason that Dogecoin suddenly got listed, well, about everywhere on all exchanges, meaning a lot more people wanted their hands on Dogecoin. And
Yeah.
if you take now, for example, the graph with it, and you compare it towards its all-time high, well, you will clearly see that it came crashing down tremendously, and it's now currently trading at a slightly higher level when compared to 2018 or the years prior. But that's something normal. It got overhyped in the recent bull run. And on the long term, you will notice if the hype doesn't continue, that it probably will come crashing down. However, there's a certain pot of money involved which is stocked on the blockchain, which is being unable to move. So there is a certain, well, low level it cannot reach beyond. But in reality, yeah, hype works to a certain extent, but it doesn't mean that the project itself is decent. And that's something which belongs to technical analysis,
Mm-hmm.
and that is to to measure and more or less guess where the bottoms are and when things might explode or where um, its newer high level will be. And yeah, it's kind of more complicated than I'm trying to explain here.
No,
But
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. So I want to get to your place where you live at, right? You live in Belgium, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
How's the economy going on over there?
Well, as equally bad as in the rest of the world, however, not as bad as it does in the UK.
Okay.
So we also got inflation. Energy bills are getting extremely
Yes.
high here.
Yes.
Um, I've got a bit of luck with my energy provider with having special contracts, but I know starting next year, February somewhere, those contracts will come at an end, and I
Oh
might
wow.
be in slight trouble. But
Are you
I
mining?
know I can have. I mine a variety of coins. Yes.
Okay. Do you want to say what you mine, or you keep that confidential?
Uh, Well, I'm going to share one, and that's helium that I'm mining.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And there's also one meme coin, but just so I can do a few giveaways, and that's another coin.
Oh. Okay. So
And
you.
for the rest, yeah, I'm also running a few nodes. Raven coin is one, which you are familiar with, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And I also run a Bitcoin node.
Bitcoin Note. Do you have them on like Raspberry Pis, or what do you? How are you running them? Just on your computer?
Well, it's simply on my computer that I'm running them. Well, I've got two computers. I've got my home computer with which I game, etc.
Uh huh.
And I've got a separate laptop from my girlfriend, and starting from next week, my wife, because I'm
Oh,
getting married.
congratulations! Nice.
Thank you.
Nice.
And I've got an old laptop which is also running a Bitcoin node
Uh huh.
passively next to me. So it was one of her old laptops she doesn't use anymore. I cleaned it up, rebooted it, and made it sure to let it run a node.
It doesn't matter. You know, you're just gonna be my wife now. I'm just gonna take the computer.
Nah,
I'm just
no, I
kidding.
gifted her a tablet for her birthday last year,
Yeah.
and she said, like, yeah, I can't use the computer anymore. You can do whatever. Do it, because there's something with the battery which needs to be checked up, but I made a few adjustments, and now it stays plugged in, isn't using all too much energy, except for running the nodes, so
Okay. Aside,
it's fine.
aside from being married next week, what are you doing currently right now? So you gave us the history of how you got into the crypto space. So here's something that surprised me. You said you're still gaming, right? You're still gaming today, like you're still doing games. What is your game that you're playing right now? What's your popular game?
Well, it switches depending on my fancy. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
big fan of Terraria, and I'm currently playing the Tmod loader, so naturally still modding.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've recently played some Duke Nukem 3D, the 20th year edition
Mm-hmm.
on Steam, and yeah, naturally
Interesting.
Doom, if I can find a new
Have
WAD to mod.
Have you heard of Rust?
I've heard about it. I need to look it up once again,
Yeah.
what it was about.
So what's interesting about Rust is that one of the developers over in Ravencoin, he made a coin that's pegged to the Rust game time. So depending on how much time you play on Rust, depending on how many trees you chop, rocks you break, whether that be stone, iron, or sulfur, or how many like bears, and let me see what else, deer, how many animals you kill within the game, how many NPCs you kill in the game. You start to earn crypto coins within the game. Just you playing the games, which is kind of cool. I thought it was really cool that you can, and then you build up your house, right, to
And
protect yourself from the
that's
elements.
well, that's going to be a development in Web3 and metaverse. So blockchain gaming, I know, is increasing in popularity.
Yeah, but see,
I've had
the thing is, he didn't make. What's really cool about this is that he didn't make Rust. Rust itself is already a game. You can just mod it, right? So all he did was just add a little mod to add tokens within it, an incentive to play on his server, right? So as you continue to
that,
play normally, you're earning tokens that goes into your MetaMask wallet.
yeah, it's a cool concept, I'm going to say. Not immediately. Sorry if I'm remaining slightly more passive here, but
That's
I've
okay.
seen through my live streams plenty of projects which are blockchain-based gaming.
Uh huh.
And it's both combination of really games built upon a blockchain
Yes.
or games being linked, like Rust, to a blockchain with some modding going on, with, as you said, the tokens being created based on the amount of sulfur, wood, etc. being
Yes.
mined. So it isn't the very first time I'm seeing something like
What other
that one.
what other games do you know of? I'm always curious.
Well, I had a few visitors in a Telegram channel. What was the game called? It was something with mini bots. I know my co-host from Cryptoziasts likes to talk about it. I don't know
Hmm.
how far it went. I believe there's also a game called Castle Wars. It's a classic one,
Hmm.
but I do believe there's also a blockchain involved.
Hmm.
Well, a version exists with blockchain involved. Another one, and that's from one of my more favorite projects. It isn't really blockchain-based gaming, but you can earn Nano by playing Nano Browser Quest.
Yeah.
And it's really a game. Browser Quest is the original title. You played on Mozilla Firefox. It's just a simple character, two-dimensional indie game. You level up, but Nano made well, the two members from the community made an adjusted version whereby you need to earn certain achievements, and those achievements lets you earn nano. And if
Uh huh.
you finish the game, you defeat the boss, you get a playout in your wallet.
Interesting.
Simple as that.
So here's
And I've played it.
one of the first blockchain games I've played. I no longer play it, and I'll explain to you why here in a bit. So it's called Etherman. Of course, it's a game based off the Ethereum blockchain.
Mhm.
When Ethereum first came to fruition with the EVM, right, the Ethereum virtual machine, a lot of developers started developing games on Ethereum. One of them was Ethermon, and I personally like Pokemon. I'm a Pokemon fanatic. I love Pokemon. So now with Ethermon, it's literally just Ethereum monsters on the Ethereum blockchain. I was like, this is so cool. I can do this. I can battle them. I can train them. I can level them up, make them stronger and stuff. That's so cool. And on top of that, they're mine. They're in my wallet, so I can trade them up on OpenSea if I wanted to. Right? That was really
Mhm.
cool. I like that whole concept. So I would play a lot. I was one of the first early guys that got into the Ethereum ICO in the early days. So I was able to get a lot of Ethereum in the early days. Excuse me. So playing Ethermon was so fun to me because transaction fees at that time, before the whole big push up that everybody was using Ethereum, I was literally paying 3 to 10 cents per transaction, and that was so fun. I loved
Yeah,
it.
those were the good days for Ethereum when
Yeah.
it wasn't as highly valuable as it is today, and that transaction fees were and gas fees were still more or less manageable.
Yeah.
That's also one of the developments I've actively seen, and well, yeah.
I loved it. So I would
Well,
always play that every single day. I would always level up my monsters and play on the adventures and but obviously as the transaction fees started to go up, it was costing me a dollar, $2, $10, $80, $100, $300 per transaction. I'm like, no, there's absolutely no way am I going to pay $300 to play this
yeah,
game.
that's one of the things about Ethereum. In the beginning, when it was still proof of work, I always said it is a good, decent second where it concerns market cap. However, since latest bull run and the final push towards transitioning towards proof of stake, the rollout of their beacon chain in December 2020, at that point in time, I changed my stance and I said Ethereum is one big shit show.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not getting banned for calling it like that, well, using curse words, but
Oh, you're fine.
yeah,
So what do you think
if
about that?
there
Since we're talking about Ethereum, what's your idea behind the whole proof of work merging over to proof of stake?
that it's uh, BS in reality. By reason, proof of work secured their blockchain fine. It made it work pretty fine. The only trouble started with Ethereum getting such a high value, and that a variety of governments and banks, etc., got interested into Ethereum. And at a certain point in time, you noticed with the EIPs, so the
Mm-hmm.
improvement protocols that started to be rolled out, that it was less about securing the blockchain and more about alienating the miners,
Mm-hmm.
seemingly making
Yes.
it less secure, making it much less attractive to, well, normal retail users like you and I,
Mm-hmm.
which is actually reflected into the high gas fees during a bull run,
Yes.
and their unwillingness to fix such a simple issue and really alienating their fundamental basis. At that point, I knew something is going on, and with the final push towards a transitioning off proof of stake, with the rollout of the beacon chain, whereby to become a validator you need 30 to stake 32 Ethereum.
Yes.
At that point, I know they want to have it more centralized.
Mm-hmm.
They want to have a better grasp of the blockchain, less people
Wow.
supporting it, so that they can start. A variety of articles have been written about it. With less validators and with less people supporting it, like miners, censorship becomes a possibility on the Ethereum blockchain.
Well,
And
now that there's no miners on Ethereum, now it's all just validators. Apparently the SEC is trying to crack down on this whole Ethereum validator proof of stake validators because the chairman Gary Gensler is stating that the majority, which is not the majority of stakers, which is like 46 to like 50% of the validators are hosted within the United States. So Gary Gensler, the chairman of the SEC, is saying that because the majority of validators are within the states. The transactions that occur on the Ethereum blockchain are resident to the United States. Therefore, anybody that's creating transactions on the Ethereum virtual machine or on Ethereum are pretty much going to have to owe taxes to the U.S. to the United States, which is it just
uh,
sounds ridiculous to me. But I don't know. I don't know. What do you think about that? Did you hear about that?
I heard about it. I also find it ridiculous. However, he's got a point somewhere. By reason, plenty of people actually staked their Ethereum not directly onto the Ethereum blockchain, but through exchanges. And I'm really
Yes.
mentioning here Kraken. I believe Binance also has the option,
Yes.
and they are running their very own a variety of validators.
Yes.
But it also implies those validators are being run in the places where their headquarters are. And coincidentally, that happens to be the US.
Yes.
So, on that account, I dare say, yes, he's got a point somewhere. However, am I in favor of his opinion? Not really. By reason, the SEC doesn't need to be involved with cryptocurrency when it comes down to it. They've got no business going on about it. By reason, well, it is a separate market. Um, Something they highly rejected, scoffed at, etc. But now that it has attained a trillion market cap in total, suddenly things become very interesting. And naturally, they want to leverage money out of it. What can we do about it? Not much, sadly enough. I'm not a fan of them getting involved. Neither am I a fan of government saying we need to introduce more regulations to get cryptocurrency more mainstream. I'm against that statement entirely because I'm of the opinion the crypto market has been developing and innovating pretty much fine without such regulations. Sure, there are the scam groups, the hypes, etc., but anyone with a little bit of fundamental and technical knowledge can spot the scam and shitcoins and evade them. And it's really the poor suckers who
Mm-hmm.
fall for scams, in my opinion. Naturally, but at the same time, yeah, they will get involved. I have no questions about that one. So at this point, I also try to warn people by saying, look, withdraw your coins from exchanges, keep as much in storage, in private storage, cold storage
Yeah.
as possible. And for the love of God, please do not start cashing out back towards USD. Bitcoin was incepted, and it's pretty much the title of the white paper, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. Use it as cash. Don't cash out towards falling an inflationary dollar or euro.
Mm-hmm.
Just use Bitcoin to make your payments. That's the sanest thing you can do, especially now during bear markets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, Well, okay, that last statement wasn't necessarily correct. It's more interesting, profit-wise, to do it during a bull market.
Bull
But
market, yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
you catch my drift what I'm trying to
Yeah,
point at
yeah.
here.
So let me ask you, what do you think about CBDC? So the United States, I just spent an episode last week talking about pretty much it's basically the White House's white paper. Like no joke, they went into detail. I created a whole episode on this, verbatim, reading their articles of what they're planning on doing, and it's literally trying to make a CBDC, and they're outright telling the citizens of U.S. that yeah, get ready, we're researching it. Within the next 6 months, we have like 13 different agencies all together, and all these great minds are coming out with the perfect solution to push out the best CBDC for the states. What about you guys over in Belgium? Are you guys considering a CBDC?
Well, there is consideration for a CBDC, but it's on European level. So I know
Ah,
there are test cases in Italy, if I'm not mistaken, and they were, I thought, expanding to Greece or Spain, one of both. So there are tests going on. However, my stance on CBDCs is quite negative, and I don't want to see them.
yeah.
So I highly advise almost all of my students and followers to stay as much clear of CBDCs as possible and, well, retain your crypto like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Chainlink, Nano, whatever,
See, but
and
here's
try.
the thing that I brought up on previous episodes. What about a UBI, a universal basic income? People are struggling right now in the bear market. People don't have enough money to really pay for food. I mean, fuel is going up, electricity is going up. You know that. People are not having enough money to pay for their regular living expenses, right? We're not talking about going and just spending luxuriously. We're just talking about I need electricity, I need water, I need a roof over my head, I need petrol for my vehicle to travel to commute, right? The basic fundamentals. But when you don't have the actual income to sustain you for those basic necessities, the government says, "Hey, best buddy, guess what? We're going to start giving you a UBI, a universal basic income, which is approximately worth I don't know $250 for free. Don't worry about it.
Mm.
All you have to do is download our wallet, the the American or what's the opposite of Chivo? What's I don't know. Let's call it let's call it the monkey wallet. The monkey, just download the monkey wallet, right? And then here's your $250 worth of CBDCs in this wallet. All you have to do is KYC AML just for your protection and for the protection of others, so we don't have any terrorists using this money illegally, right? That's how they get you, right? At the beginning, they give you $250 or $500 for free. Don't worry about it. Every single month. It's gonna go right into your wallet. You use the CBDC at approved locations to buy your groceries, to pay for your bills. Why not, right? That makes sense. People need the money, and the thing is, the masses will use that money, regardless of whether they care about it being a CBDC. I think the majority of people that are not even in the space will not even care. They're so desperate that if the government gives them the money, they're going
Oh,
to take it.
that's indeed true. And on that occasion, I'm going to highlight that people need to be smart. If money, usable money, is being thrown your way, use it, accept it, but do know the limitations that are connected towards it. If, for example, with that monkey wallet, as you said, like they say, yeah, it's your universal basic income, and you could do that, and you can cover your bills with it. It's all fine. You can use it for that. But for the love of God, try to find alternative means, alternative assets that you can purchase, but they don't have any control over. And that's one of the reasons why I stepped into cryptocurrency. By reason, fairly early on in my, well, initial investigations and upon reading the Bitcoin white paper, where the current problems with the current traditional financial systems are involved, you quite clearly and easily see the shortcomings the control and the digitalization that they are trying to push, the limitations and the censorship that can occur. And that's one of the major themes where it concerns Bitcoin and, well, blockchain-based technology. And the pushing forward of CBDCs, well, that thing hasn't been pushed forward because of blockchain technology. No, it is something which has been in the making for a very, very long time. I mean, I can start bashing on CBDCs or central bank digital currencies any time of the day and quite easily. But you need to understand, most of our current money is already digital. Fewer and fewer people are using cash money. And the transition towards a CBDC is actually just a flick of the switch away when it comes down to it.
Well,
And that's
hold
one of the
on.
reasons.
Did you say that more and more people are using cash money?
More and more people, no, fewer and fewer people are using cash money. I
Oh,
might have
okay. Yeah, my
mispronounced that.
apologies. Okay,
Sorry.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that because here's an example. Like literally 2 days ago, 3 days ago, I was at Walmart, right? Everybody,
Hmm.
there was, all the self checkout lines at Walmart. You know how you just pay, do it yourself. I was waiting,
Yeah.
I was waiting that line, and I just have like three things. That's why I'm at self check. I'm like, yeah, just go, waiting, waiting, waiting. Every single line is just long. It's ridiculous. That's just how Walmart rush hour is. Just waiting and waiting. And while I'm waiting there at the line, behind three people for my lane to go up so I could be my turn, I noticed that there's one empty self checkout lane that
Hmm.
nobody's using. Keep in mind there's 13 or 14 of these self checkout lanes. Every single one of them is full. That's going down the food aisles. Each lane has 10 people in line, and then there's this one lane that nobody is at. There's a piece of paper that's there that says cash only. I was like, are you
That's
serious? Nobody here out of the 300 people that are waiting in line, nobody has cash? Now, I don't have cash. I tap to pay, right? That's what I did. That's ridiculous. That's crazy. No, that's mind blowing, but that's the reality we're living in now. And I think a lot of that was it was pretty much expedited by Corona, right? You couldn't go to the bank,
Mhm.
you couldn't withdraw. You had to learn the digital ways, right? And that's why I think
Yeah.
it's gonna be more of a reality that the CBDC is going to come to fruition. People are going to naturally adopt it now. Keep in mind that it's already been adopted in China, right? The China, El Salvador, they have their own CBDCs. They're already working with that stuff. Well, actually, sorry, my apologies. Salvador does not have their CBDC. They have a Chivo wallet, which accepts Lightning Bitcoin, but still,
Yeah.
it's revolution. It's going on everywhere. It's going to be adopted everywhere. So it's one of those things, like you said, educate yourself, right? For the people that are listening, educate yourself, understand what you're getting yourself into. And I personally agree with you. I would not support a CBDC backed by the government. Period. I actually anybody that's creating a CBDC, I would not. I would say stick with Bitcoin, stick with stable coins, right? Stay that should do it. If you're gonna go in that route, stay with that.
Well, I might even say I'm not even a fan of stable coins myself, unless they are backed by physical gold. If it's a stable coin which tries to imitate the value of the euro, the yen, the Great British Pound, or the US dollar, I'm not in support. And the reason is fairly simple. Just look at what happened to USDT, the Terra Luna stablecoin. That's something which can occur with any stablecoin. Tether, yeah, I wanted to say Tether is another example, but I'm going to make it more general. In order to have a stablecoin, you need a variety of assets backing it so that it can maintain its peg. And it's really a series of buying and selling of assets, and technically also burning parts of the stablecoin in order to maintain such a peg. Generally, the burning offset stablecoin doesn't occur. They will always buy and sell assets. Which ones? US dollars, variety of stocks and options, and a DPEG can occur at any point in time. For example, if the stock market, like the last couple of weeks, starts crashing tremendously, well, naturally, what do you need to do in order to maintain such a peg? Well, depending on the system and how it is built, it either needs to buy in additional stocks in order to compensate the losses, or it needs to sell off aggressively. which is what occurred as the final switch with Terra Luna, and they dumped more than 80K, I believe, 80,000 Bitcoin straight onto the market, which brought everything crashing down. And that's something, it's a liability with the majority of stablecoins. And in a certain sense, I dare even say a stablecoin is as worse as a CBDC. However, one of the primary advantages of a stablecoin is that it still has a blockchain. Not all transactions are more or less transparent, but a variety of backing mechanisms naturally aren't blockchain based and are more hidden towards the public. And that's one of the reasons what I try to educate to people to not blindly trust stablecoins. They are handy when it concerns trading, but where it concerns their build up and their impact on the market, it can be very disastrous.
Hmm.
Yeah, I know that's a quite controversial statement
Yeah.
being made, but
No, it's
it
right.
is more or less the reality
We got
in
a lot.
which we live. And
We have a lot of warfare
yeah,
going on around the nation, right? Currently, you got Russia, Ukraine. You got people protesting around the world. You got the Iranians protesting. People in the states are protesting. There's a lot of people being here locally in my area, and I live in the United States, man. Here,
mhm.
people are getting shot like every single day. It's so crazy that people here just turn their backs on stuff like that. They're
Yeah, people are.
people are like goldfish. Like they literally see the activity going on and, oh my god, somebody got shot. Okay, what's for lunch today? It's like they really just they're entertained by the incident at that moment, but then they're on after. It's like they don't really care. Like, okay, it's time to move on. Oh, there's somebody laying on the street because somebody jumped off the bridge. Well, I have to get home. I just got off of work, so somebody get the body off the road. It's like, what is going on with the world? And you have warfare going on, and I'm just trying to take it one
Yeah,
day at a time, man. It's crazy.
yeah. The world is. I'm not going to say going to is getting bad, but people are getting desensitized at a variety of what was
Mm-hmm.
previously very bad things, murder, etc., etc. And well, people get desensitized, and I believe with COVID, things didn't really better. People were more ascribed to their own. They were locked inside their homes, and the only things that they could do was either work or bore themselves to death with watching, well, plenty of social media, plenty of news items, which were all
Netflix.
panicky and disastrous things indeed. And well, that's also I've mentioned a few times in a few Telegram channels. I'm not surprised seeing the sudden downtrend of certain big tech companies like Netflix, Amazon, Google, etc. By reason people have been locked up in their homes for about 2 years. In 2 years' time, their stock value has doubled. So seeing them draw back towards, shrink with 50%, that's kind of natural. The people who are at home now are now back on the outside. They need to work. They are canceling their Netflix subscriptions, making less use of Amazon by reason they aren't home 24/7. So it's a shrinking which was to be expected. So that's something I'm not all too surprised about. But naturally, with making use of services of Netflix and Amazon, you had, well, 24/7 streaming services, well, pushing a variety of news items and bad news things straight into your eyes. And
Yeah, that's the
to
thing.
such an
That's
extent, you get desensitized, and that's what actually happening. People have forgotten how to behave when other people are around, how to be cordial and friendly.
mm-hmm. And that's the interesting thing about like entertainment in general, regardless of where you get it from, whether it be Netflix, uh, TikTok, or Instagram or Facebook, regardless of where you get your entertainment from. It's interesting how the built-in artificial intelligence that's in that on the back end literally feeds you spoon feeds you as a viewer or as a user of the platform the best content that you are stimulated by, right? That you are entertained by, right? Everybody has
Yeah.
their own little thing, but the AI built on the back end of these platforms know exactly what you like and will continuously feed you that stuff over and over and over and over again, just so you can stay, just so they can retain you as much as possible on their platform. It's crazy. So when it comes to what you're saying, the whole the news that's going on around the world, yeah, it's gonna feed you a specific viewpoint of what you prefer, right? It's mind blowing. But is that the
Indeed,
reality? Is that
and
the reality of what's going on? I don't know.
it's more or less the reality. More and more people are now jacked into a variety of social media platforms, and you need to understand social media platform is one huge echo chamber.
Uh-huh.
It well it takes your content and spreads it out to more or less like-minded people depending on your interests, but
Mm-hmm.
at the same time it's going to funnel like-minded people or the echo of others who agree with you straight back towards you, towards your content. And that was one of the dangerous things where it concerns social media use during the COVID pandemic. A lot of people wanted to remain updated concerning the laws, regulations, and updates on how the pandemic was going on, and it strengthened the fear factor by meaning, well, the AI or artificial intelligence saw that you were looking up, well, what was occurring in the world, what was going on with COVID. And it started attracting a variety of news outlets straight back to you. It's an echo chamber. And it further highlighted the fear and the intensity of the entire experience of the lockdowns, etc. And due to that, there's a certain desensitization going on. I mean, the how to say sayings and posts that I saw from a variety of people on social media, I was like, dude, are you serious? I mean, from healthcare workers saying, yeah, and I won't treat someone who is unvaccinated, I won't treat someone yada yada yada, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
going and I'm straight into my right, and I was like, I don't want to be rude. You're a doctor, but what about Hippocratic oath you've taken? I mean, some of the statements I saw passing by, I was like, you should give back your degree because what you're saying and what you want to do gets, well, stands in contrast to said Hippocratic oath. And, well, that's something that I'm still seeing to this day. A lot of people are hypocritic in their nature. And all comes down towards social media use and the echo chambers that it developed. It was one of the reasons why I started my crypto blockchain educated channels doing live stream fundamental analysis and technical analysis. By reason, I'm not someone who watches TV often. I mean, I know who the Kardashians are just by reason that I'm browsing on Imgur and 9gag to wind down a little bit, and sometimes I see jokes popping up.
Mm-hmm.
But believe me, I've never seen any episode of them. I even have difficulties telling who is who and who the variety of sisters are. I only know about Kim, but I believe there are two or three sisters, and that's about it that I know of. Pop culture is something slightly alien to me. I know what is going wrong, but I purposely try to focus on my interests. And currently, my interests are cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, and trying to lay down the fundamentals of cryptocurrency and blockchain. A variety of consensus protocols work, how cryptocurrencies, a variety of cryptocurrency projects, how they work, how they've been built, how things function. And I know, well, with some of my videos, I've received the ire of plenty of communities, mostly from people who jumped in for the hype but didn't really do their research. And generally, in those live streams, it's me, well, involuntarily popping their bubbles, highlighting things that they oversaw and drawing conclusions they don't want you to make. And they're saying, yeah, but you have been modifying the content on your videos. No, I didn't. Those are live streams. Everything you see on screen, I am discovering at that point in time. I might be searching for a variety of things, like, for example, who's the team? Is the team doxed in the sense of can I verify who the CEO is, CEO, etc., etc.
Yeah.
But that's about it. For the rest, I didn't do any pre-research. I'm really showing on screen what they're telling, placing it in a correct context. Well, in the context like it is presented on screen, really. Um, it's kind of hard making things up on live stream and drawing certain conclusions. I mean, all my live streams are for free to view for everyone. I'm not getting paid for doing them. So what is my gain if I were to talk positive about a project or negatively if I don't get paid for it? I mean, I show the things as they are, and that's not something all too well liked. So yeah.
So if somebody wants a TA in regards to a certain coin, can they reach out to you? Say, for example, somebody
Yes.
wants a TA for. I'm not much into TAs or FAs or anything like that. I don't know much about that. So I'd probably have to watch some of your videos just to get a general understanding. Actually, if you can, make just a basic video of what FA and TA is all about. Because I don't really know. I don't. I'm more of a hodler kind of guy. You know, I just buy and I hodl. Um.
Well, myself, I'm not really into TA, so in technical analysis. With technical analysis, to put it in the proper context, I mean, I'm not actively analyzing charts through TradingView, drawing lines, recognizing patterns. I can do them. I do them generally very briefly as an introduction towards the coin,
Uh.
just to show people like, okay, these are the current market conditions. First, I show Bitcoin on how it's performing in the last couple of weeks or months. Before I get over towards the factual coin I want to analyze, just to get a grip, is it following market trends? Or is it doing something separately? Because that's one of the very first fundamental things you can verify. If it does something else than the market movements, why so? That's a very first question you should ask yourself. And after doing that technical analysis to see, does it follow the market? Is there a deviation? Why not, etc. I generally jump in, start analyzing if there's a contract, is it a coin or a token? To get a little bit educational here, I consider a cryptocurrency a coin if it has its very own blockchain.
Mhm.
It is a token when it is built upon another blockchain. For example, Cumrocket is a token. By reason, it is based on the Binance Smart Chain. So it is a token.
What about
Bitcoin is,
what about
yeah,
XRP?
XRP, I need to verify. Sorry, XRP is a token. By reason, it has been pre-mined and hold in escrow. It has its very own blockchain, yes, but in this instance, it is one of those more special cases. In a
Hmm.
sense, generally, if it has a very own blockchain, you can't do a pre-mint. By reason, with a decent distributed system and a decent decentralized system, your distribution will also be, well, spread over time. Now, what occurs with XRP? They pre-mined everything. They implemented a blockchain
Uh huh.
to verify the transactions in a certain decentralized manner, but they then saved the entire reserve in a variety of escrows and programmed a timing schedule. That's entirely different than how Bitcoin works. By
Uh
reason,
huh.
if you've programmed the escrows with a multi-sig, with a multi-sig signature, it implies you can have access to the escrow itself, meaning that you can modify the distribution behavior, meaning there's a centralized entity that can meddle with it. Um, Generally, with a blockchain, and that's getting real deeper here, and that's why I consider XRP more or less of a token. You
Okay.
can't have the pre-mint by reason it has been mined on beforehand. And then afterwards, the ledger or the blockchain was created with the necessary escrows. That's not really how things should work. That's taking additional extra steps to avoid, well, being labeled a security, if I can be as blunt um, here during the podcast. I know I'm going to get some hate for that one.
I,
Because
I
yeah, sorry.
I wanted to ask you. You keep saying that it depends on if the token has a blockchain. So what do you mean by that? Like what token out there does not have a blockchain? Can you give me an example?
Well, CBDCs, for example, do not have their very own blockchain. That's a very easy example. But with that, I want to say their very own native blockchain from which they can be mined, by which you can earn additional tokens by performing work. For example, Ethereum is a coin, despite being a proof of stake and my negative stance about them currently. However, their coins are still being mined in a sense through validators. Validators receive Ethereum for the work they've done. So
Mm-hmm.
that's more or less distributed, decentralized mining of your coins. Ethereum has its very own native blockchain,
Yeah.
making it a proper coin. However,
Mm.
with XRP, the difference lies that they have a blockchain, but the ledger itself isn't really producing new XRP by reason the XRP itself
It's
was
already
pre
pre
was
pre.
already created and saved afterwards
Mm-hmm.
with a variety of mechanisms unleashing a variety of escrows.
Interesting.
But
Okay.
those escrows still being able to be adjusted. Why do I say still being able to adjust it? Well, I've had plenty of discussions with the Ripple community,
Have
and
you?
I know from what I'm
Mhm.
saying here, they will probably disagree up until the point that I'm going to say right now. They said to me, we can vote to burn the remaining supply in escrow, something which you can't do with a proper coin. It can only be done by a token.
Ah, okay.
Henceforth, XRP is a token.
Ah, I see what you're saying now. Okay. How about, and by the way, XRP is ranked number 6 right now in CoinGecko at 47 cents. Currently down
Hmm?
2.4%. Let me ask you, what about a token or coin that does not have a blockchain, such as Hedera Hashgraph?
Well, I did an analysis about them. What were my conclusions again? It has been quite
H
a long
H
time.
bar.
Yeah, I know them. I did an analysis last year somewhere.
Oh, you did. Interesting. I wonder how that came
Yeah,
out.
I believe I started up quite positively, but ended on quite a misser. There were quite a few things that I viewed as quite negative, actually. Can't
Ah.
really remember the fundamentals anymore by reason I'm up to 75 episodes. And in the meantime, I've had plenty of people asking me about a variety of coins and tokens in the meantime.
Okay.
And well, it's a hassle remembering over
No,
100
that's fine.
coins and
That's
all their
fine.
fundamentals
I
in
understand.
detail.
Okay, how about this? Let's go ahead and wrap up this episode. I do want to ask if people are interested in getting in contact with you, where's the best way they can contact you? I noticed that you are very active in Twitter.
Indeed. So I'm available on a variety of social media. Easiest is to DM me or tag me on Twitter. I'm also available on YouTube, naturally, for all my live streams, so you can leave comments underneath my videos. I generally respond quite quickly. I'm also on Getter, Rumble, and TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. And all of them I'm easily reachable if you just leave a comment on one of the videos. Twitter, most likely. If you send me a DM, I will respond.
Okay, perfect. All right. Let's go ahead and wrap this episode up. Thank you, Dimitri, for being on the podcast. And congratulations on your marriage next week, buddy. Yeah.
Thanks, 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 thanks.
I appreciate that. All right, Cryptonauts. Let's go ahead and pull up the coin tree here real quick. If you're interested in helping donating to our podcast, to the C3 Media cause of bringing more people onto the podcast, I'd appreciate your little donations over at our coin tree. You can donate via Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB, Raven, BAT, a bunch of other coins. If you want to hang out with us, we do have a Discord, our YouTube channel, we have a Twitter, Twitch, and if you want to listen to the podcast, we are on Spotify and Anchor. So with that said, until next time, Cryptonauts, stack sats, and huddle. Adios.